In the heart of a war-torn country, Captain Alex Romanov, a seasoned soldier, received a mission that would test his courage and determination like never before. His daughter, Sofia, had been taken to a shelter under the guise of safety, but rumors of mistreatment and exploitation had surfaced. With his heart heavy and resolve unwavering, Alex set out to uncover the truth and bring his daughter home. As he navigated through the chaos of conflict zones, Alex encountered the harsh realities faced by countless families. The shelter, once thought to be a haven, was a facade for something far darker. Inside, he discovered not only the suffering of his daughter, but also the plight of many others trapped in a system that preyed on the vulnerable. The emotional toll of this revelation was profound. Alex's love for his daughter fueled his determination to dismantle the operation and rescue the innocent lives ensnared within. But the journey was fraught with peril. Every step forward was met with resistance. Every ally was a potential traitor, and every moment spent in the shelter brought him closer to a confrontation that could cost him everything. Yet, Alex pressed on, driven by the unbreakable bond between father and daughter. His mission evolved from a personal quest to a fight for justice, a battle to expose the truth and ensure that no child would suffer as Sofia had. Alongside a team of trusted comrades, he devised a plan to infiltrate the shelter, gather evidence, and bring the perpetrators to justice. The operation was meticulous, requiring precision and timing. As they breached the shelter's defenses, Alex's heart raced, not just for the danger they faced, but for the lives they aimed to save. In the chaos that ensued, he found Sofia, her eyes filled with fear and relief. The reunion was bittersweet, a moment of triumph overshadowed by the horrors they had uncovered, but the battle was far from over. The shelter's network was vast, its reach extending into the highest echelons of power. Alex knew that exposing the truth would make him a target, but he was undeterred. With Sofia safe and the evidence in hand, he vowed to continue the fight, to ensure that the darkness lurking in the shadows was brought into the light. If you're ready to see how this incredible mission unfolds and witness the courage of a father willing to do anything for his child, like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell. Share this story to inspire others and help spread awareness about courage, determination, and the fight for justice. Captain Alex Romanov stood silently at the edge of the war-torn city, the weight of the mission pressing down on him like a stone. The streets were littered with debris, the echoes of distant gunfire serving as a grim reminder of the world he had returned to. His daughter, Sofia, had been placed in a shelter under the guise of protection, but whispers of abuse and neglect had reached his ears. The thought of her being in danger, perhaps even alone and terrified, ignited a fire in Alex that no battlefield had ever kindled before. For years, Alex had been a soldier. He knew discipline, strategy, and the brutal mathematics of survival. But this mission was different. This was personal. It was no longer about national security, territorial advantage, or winning battles. It was about the life of one precious child. Every detail mattered. Every decision carried weight. Failure was unacceptable. The journey to the shelter was fraught with challenges. Alex moved cautiously, navigating through narrow alleyways, avoiding patrols, and relying on old contacts who owed him favors. The world had changed since his last deployment. Technology had advanced, communications were encrypted, and misinformation spread like wildfire. Yet Alex's experience gave him an edge. He knew how to read between the lines, how to see patterns where others saw chaos. He had studied the shelter for weeks. Satellite images, social media accounts, local informants. Every piece of information was catalogued and analyzed. What seemed like a simple building from the outside was actually a labyrinth of corridors, locked rooms, and surveillance points. Guards rotated on unpredictable schedules, and every exit had its own set of hazards. One wrong step could alert the staff, putting Sofia and the other children in immediate danger. Alex's team was small but skilled. Sergeant Marcus, his longtime comrade, had always been precise and methodical. Tonight, Marcus carried a quiet intensity, his movements taut with readiness. Beside him, Lieutenant Ramirez, a man who understood the bond between parent and child, scanned the perimeter, alert for any sign of trouble. Each team member knew the stakes. They were not just soldiers executing orders, they were guardians of innocence in a place designed to crush it. As darkness enveloped the city, Alex reviewed the plan one last time. The entry point had to be precise. The timing had to align perfectly with the guards' rotations. He envisioned the path they would take, the shadowed corridors, the stairwells, the rooms where children were hidden away. He pictured Sophia, huddled in fear, perhaps whispering a prayer, hoping that her father would come. The thought sharpened his focus. Every step toward the shelter was a test of patience and skill. Alex moved silently through the streets, his senses heightened. He noted the way a loose board creaked, how a guard adjusted his flashlight, the pattern of the security camera's sweeps. These were small details, but in this operation, small details meant life or death. Inside the shelter, the situation was worse than Alex had imagined. He saw signs of neglect, rooms poorly maintained, and children with eyes wide in terror. It was a place that promised safety but delivered fear. Alex's heart ached for Sophia and the others. He clenched his fists, not out of anger, but out of a resolve that there was no turning back. The team coordinated silently. Hand signals replaced words. Every glance conveyed meaning. Alex led the way, moving like a shadow, blending into the darkness. They approached the first corridor, where the faint sound of children's whispers reached them. Alex stopped, listening. He could hear a small voice, soft but trembling. He recognized it immediately. It was Sophia. The relief was instant but tempered by urgency. They had to move carefully. One wrong move, one alarm, and the operation would fail. Alex signaled Marcus and Ramirez to fan out, covering possible escape routes. The plan required precision, timing, and courage. The soldiers had trained for years, but nothing could have fully prepared them for the emotional weight of this mission. As they navigated the shelter, Alex observed the staff. They were methodical, efficient, and completely unaware of the operation unfolding around them. This was their advantage. He noted the guards' patterns, the locations of locked doors, and the cameras. Every movement was calculated, every step a delicate dance between stealth and speed. Finally, Alex reached the room where Sophia was being kept. He froze for a moment, taking in the sight of her curled up on a small mattress, eyes wide with fear and hope. Her gaze met his, and in that instant, the exhaustion, the fear, and the months of planning coalesced into a single purpose: bringing her home safely. He motioned for her to stay quiet, and slowly, cautiously, they began the journey back through the shelter. Each corridor, each door, each corner posed a risk, but Alex's meticulous planning paid off. The guards were circumvented, the cameras avoided, and every child remained safe. The team reached a secure point where they could regroup. Sophia clung to her father, trembling yet safe. Alex whispered reassurances, his voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through him. This was only the beginning, but they had taken the first critical step. The mission was underway, and the hope of justice and safety for Sophia and the other children was now within reach. Captain Alex Romanov had crossed the threshold from soldier to protector, from warrior to father. In the heart of darkness, he had found purpose, and with every careful, calculated step, he was moving closer to completing the mission that mattered most: saving his daughter. The operation had been a success, but for Captain Alex Romanov, there was no time to rest. Sophia was safe, yet the evidence they had gathered painted a grim picture. The shelter was part of a vast, organized network exploiting vulnerable children. The implications were staggering, and Alex knew that bringing the perpetrators to justice would be as challenging as rescuing Sophia had been. The days following the mission were a blur of meetings, briefings, and coordination. Alex worked closely with local law enforcement, federal agencies, and trusted contacts who had helped him navigate the shadowy world of shelters, traffickers, and corrupt officials. Each piece of evidence, the documents, recordings, witness statements, was meticulously catalogued and cross-referenced. There was no room for error. One mistake could allow the network to cover its tracks, letting the perpetrators escape and leaving countless other children at risk. Alex also had to consider Sophia's emotional state. The trauma of being confined in the shelter and the uncertainty she had endured left visible marks. Every night as she fell asleep in the safety of their temporary refuge, Alex remained vigilant. He understood that the psychological wounds of the ordeal could take years to heal, and he was determined to ensure that she received the care and support she needed. Meanwhile, the intelligence they had collected began to reveal the sheer scale of the operation. It was not limited to a single shelter or city. Branches of the network extended across multiple states, involving individuals with significant influence. From high-ranking officials to private contractors, many had facilitated the abuse, either actively or through willful ignorance. The depth of corruption was staggering, and the challenge of dismantling the network was immense. Alex coordinated with prosecutors, investigators, and child advocacy groups to ensure the evidence would hold up in court. He personally met with survivors and other rescued children, listening to their stories, recording their accounts, and offering reassurance. His presence brought them a sense of security, an unspoken promise that someone was fighting for them, that they were not forgotten. Public awareness soon followed. News of the shelter's conditions and Alex's daring rescue spread rapidly. Social media amplified the story, and national outlets picked it up. The public was shocked, outraged, and demanding accountability. The attention was a double-edged sword. It increased pressure on authorities to act swiftly, but also placed Alex and his team under scrutiny. Every decision was watched, and every step could be politicized or questioned. Despite the challenges, Alex remained focused. His mission had evolved from rescuing his daughter to dismantling a dangerous network that endangered children nationwide. With every arrest, every prosecution, and every new lead, he felt a sense of progress. Yet he was keenly aware that justice would be a marathon, not a sprint. The network was resilient, and those involved were cunning, capable of hiding in plain sight. There were setbacks too. Key witnesses hesitated, some evidence was incomplete, and bureaucratic hurdles slowed the pace. But Alex's experience in the military had taught him patience and persistence. He adapted strategies, recalibrated plans, and relied on the loyalty and skill of his team. Every challenge was met with determination, and every small victory was celebrated. As the weeks passed, arrests were made. Leaders of the network were brought to trial, and several shelters and affiliated organizations were investigated thoroughly. Alex worked with law enforcement to ensure that protective measures were in place for all children involved. It wasn't just about punishing criminals. It was about ensuring the safety, recovery, and future well-being of the victims. Through it all, Alex learned that his personal mission had transformed into a larger cause. The fight against child exploitation, trafficking, and systemic abuse required collective action. He began partnering with national advocacy organizations, sharing his experiences, and contributing to policy discussions. His story became a symbol of resilience, courage, and the power of parental love driving action against injustice. Alex also recognized the importance of support systems. He organized counseling, therapy sessions, and community programs for survivors, understanding that healing extended beyond the courtroom. It was about restoring hope, rebuilding trust, and providing a path forward. By the end of this phase, Alex saw tangible results. Not only had Sophia been rescued, but the operation had exposed a network that preyed on children and empowered others to speak out. His actions inspired others, parents, law enforcement, and citizens alike, to remain vigilant and act decisively against abuse. The fight was far from over, but Alex Romanov had demonstrated that even in the darkest corners, courage and determination could illuminate a path to justice. His journey was no longer only about a father saving his daughter. It had become a nationwide effort to protect children, expose corruption, and ensure accountability for those who sought to harm the innocent. With Sofia safe, Alex knew that the next steps would involve continued vigilance, strategic action, and unwavering commitment. Every case uncovered, every criminal prosecuted, and every child protected was a victory against a system designed to conceal cruelty. And for Alex, each success reinforced the truth he had always known. Love, determination, and courage could drive change even in the face of unimaginable odds. After the initial rescue operation, Captain Alex Romanov knew that the next steps would demand even greater precision. The shelter's network, while partially exposed, was still operational in hidden corners. There were other children trapped, other dangers lurking in places where corruption and fear held sway. Alex realized that this was not just about one shelter, but about an entire system that required careful, strategic dismantling. Preparation became the key. Alex gathered his team, Sergeant Marcus, Lieutenant Ramirez, and a few trusted intelligence contacts, and began mapping out every detail of the network they had uncovered. Every building, every alleyway, every entry point was noted and cross-referenced with intelligence reports. Even the smallest oversight could allow perpetrators to evade justice or endanger more children. Alex spent long hours studying surveillance patterns. Cameras, guards, patrol schedules, and access points were analyzed meticulously. He even reviewed security footage frame by frame, looking for inconsistencies or blind spots. Each observation was catalogued in a digital map, constantly updated as new information arrived. "We can't afford mistakes," Alex reminded his team repeatedly. "Every second counts, every detail matters. One lapse and lives are at stake." Marcus nodded, his expression taut with focus. Ramirez added, "We know the patterns now. The children are left unattended at specific times. That's when we move." Indeed, the shelter had vulnerabilities. Tuesdays and Thursdays, for roughly 3 hours, the children were left under minimal supervision while staff attended administrative tasks. It was during these periods that Alex planned to intervene. But even with this knowledge, the mission demanded patience. Rushing in without coordination could lead to disaster. Alex also prepared contingencies. He knew that the network's leaders might be monitoring communications. Decoy operations were set up to distract staff, while backup extraction points were planned for each child. Every possible scenario was anticipated. Alex ran simulations with his team late into the night, testing movements, timing, and responses. They moved like shadows, practicing in silence, each member perfectly aware of their role. Mental preparation was equally critical. The psychological stakes were immense, not just for Alex, but for the children and the team. They had to remain calm under pressure, think several steps ahead, and make decisions that could mean the difference between success and tragedy. Alex led meditation and focus exercises, teaching the team to center themselves amidst chaos. Meanwhile, Alex worked closely with local intelligence officers who had contacts within the shelter's operations. Informants provided updates on guard rotations, minor staff absences, and even insider information about certain rooms where children were hidden. Every piece of data was verified because deception was common and a single error could cost lives. The preparation also included logistics. Vehicles for extraction were readied, routes were planned, and communication devices were secured. Supplies for immediate medical attention and emotional support for the children were gathered. Alex knew that once the operation began, there would be no time for improvisation. Everything had to be prepared in advance. The closer the operation approached, the more Alex felt the weight of responsibility. He checked and rechecked the plans, ensuring nothing had been overlooked. Maps were memorized, backup plans rehearsed, and all contingencies considered. He reminded his team constantly, "We do this for them, the children. Their safety is our mission, their trust is our duty." Every day, Alex also monitored the morale and mental state of the children through informants and observations. He studied behavioral patterns, understanding when fear escalated and when small comforts could bring a sense of safety. This knowledge allowed him to plan interventions with minimal psychological trauma. Every action was designed not only for physical safety, but for emotional protection as well. Finally, the night before the operation, Alex gathered his team for a final briefing. Charts, diagrams, and maps were spread out, each detail highlighted. Each member knew their role. Entry points, extraction paths, distraction tactics, and communication protocols. Alex looked at each of them in turn, seeing the resolve in their eyes, the same fierce determination that had brought them this far. "This is it," Alex said quietly. "Tomorrow, we move. Not just for Sophia, not just for the children here, but for every child who has ever been hidden behind closed doors. Our mission is precision, patience, and protection. Stick to the plan, stay calm, and trust each other. We succeed together, or we fail together. There's no other way." Marcus nodded. Ramirez adjusted his gear. The team had trained for countless scenarios, and now it was time to put those plans into action. Alex's mind was calm, but alert, fully aware that the next hours would test every skill, every ounce of patience, and every bit of courage they possessed. As dawn approached, Alex took a moment alone. He thought of Sophia, safe and unaware of the intensity of what lay ahead. He reminded himself of why he had returned to the front line, not for glory, not for recognition, but for the love of a child and the unwavering belief that justice must prevail. Preparation, surveillance, and planning had brought them this far. Now it was time for action. And Captain Alex Romanov knew that when the moment arrived, he and his team would move with precision, courage, and the unshakable determination that only a parent's love can inspire. The countdown had begun. Captain Alex Romanov and his team had spent weeks preparing, gathering intelligence, and meticulously rehearsing every step. The shelter, once a place of supposed safety, had revealed its true nature, an organized network exploiting children under the guise of protection. Now the time had come to act, to execute the operation that would change lives forever. Alex reviewed the plan one last time. Every detail mattered. The security cameras, guard rotations, blind spots, and escape routes had all been mapped and memorized. The timing had to be precise. A single mistake could jeopardize the entire mission. He turned to his team, seeing the focus and determination in Marcus and Ramirez's eyes. They had trained for this moment, but no amount of rehearsal could fully prepare them for the reality of entering the shelter. The team moved under the cover of night, silent and deliberate. Shadows became their allies as they navigated the city streets toward the shelter. Every step, every movement was calculated. The tension was palpable, the air thick with anticipation. Alex's heart pounded, not with fear for himself, but for the children who depended on their success. As they approached the first perimeter, Alex signaled for the team to halt. Marcus and Ramirez spread out to cover entry points, while Alex led the way toward the main entrance. They bypassed the guards with precision, exploiting the blind spots they had identified during surveillance. Every corridor, stairwell, and hallway had been studied, and every obstacle anticipated. Inside the shelter, the conditions were as grim as Alex had imagined. Children huddled in small groups, whispering in fear, eyes wide with uncertainty. Alex's heart ached, but he remained calm. He moved methodically, ensuring that each step brought them closer to the children without raising alarm. The team communicated through subtle gestures, each signal conveying volumes of meaning. They reached the room where Sophia was being held. The sight of her trembling but alive brought a surge of relief. Alex knelt beside her, whispering reassurances. "I'm here, Sophia. You're safe now." Her small hands clutched his tightly, a silent acknowledgement of the promise he had made. The reunion was brief but profound. There was no time for lingering emotions, only the pressing need to evacuate safely. With Sophia in his arms, Alex signaled the team to move. They navigated the corridors with extreme caution, avoiding guards and surveillance cameras. Marcus and Ramirez provided cover, ready to intervene if necessary. Every sound was analyzed, every shadow scrutinized. The tension was suffocating, but the precision of their planning kept panic at bay. At each checkpoint, the team executed diversion tactics. Decoy movements, noise distractions, and careful misdirection allowed Alex to progress undetected. The shelter's network, confident in their routine, remained oblivious to the extraction occurring in real time. Every child they passed was another life moving closer to safety. The final stretch was the most dangerous. The exit route had the highest concentration of guards and cameras. Alex paused to assess the situation, calculating risks and options. His team positioned themselves strategically, ready to intervene at a moment's notice. With a signal, they moved, weaving through obstacles, maintaining stealth while prioritizing speed. The team emerged into the cool night air, hearts pounding but mission accomplished. Sophia clung to Alex, exhausted but safe. Other children followed, guided by the team's careful coordination. The extraction vehicles were waiting, engines silent, ready to transport the rescued children to a secure location. The operation, which had demanded every ounce of planning, skill, and courage, had succeeded. As they drove away from the shelter, Alex allowed himself a moment of reflection. The immediate danger was over, but he knew that the broader battle had just begun. The network's leaders would not relinquish power easily. Legal battles, further investigations, and public exposure were necessary to ensure that such atrocities could not continue. The success of the operation was a testament to teamwork, intelligence, and unwavering determination. It was also a reflection of a father's love, a driving force that had motivated Alex to return to the front lines, not as a soldier in a war over territory, but as a protector, fighting for the life of his child. As dawn approached, Alex looked at Sophia sleeping peacefully, her small form finally free from fear. He knew that while this mission was a critical victory, the fight against exploitation was ongoing. Every rescued child was a step toward justice, but there were more shadows to illuminate, more lives to protect, and more courage required. Captain Alex Romanov had not only executed a flawless rescue, he had demonstrated that strategy, patience, and relentless resolve could overcome even the darkest human cruelty. The shelter was no longer a place of fear. It had been exposed, disrupted, and partially dismantled. The children were free, and a message had been sent. There are those who will fight with all their skill and courage to protect the innocent. The operation concluded, but the story continued. The fight for justice, accountability, and protection of the vulnerable was far from over. Yet for this moment, Alex allowed himself to breathe, to savor the knowledge that he had kept his promise and brought Sophia to safety. Captain Alex Romanov's journey was far from ordinary. From the moment he discovered the danger his daughter Sophia faced, he embarked on a mission that tested every skill, every ounce of courage, and every moral compass he possessed. What began as a personal rescue transformed into a battle against an entire network that preyed on innocent children, revealing corruption and exploitation hidden behind closed doors. The shelter that had promised safety was anything but that. Through meticulous planning, surveillance, and unwavering determination, Alex had not only rescued his daughter, but had also exposed a network that endangered countless other children. Every step, every decision, and every sacrifice highlighted the incredible power of love, courage, and perseverance. As the rescued children found safety, Alex realized that this mission was about more than just immediate danger. It was about long-term justice. Legal systems, advocacy groups, and social services were engaged to ensure that those responsible faced accountability and that the children could begin the slow process of healing. Alex's actions demonstrated that courage and preparation, combined with compassion, could challenge even the most entrenched systems of exploitation. The emotional weight of the mission was immense. Witnessing the fear in the eyes of the children, understanding the psychological trauma they had endured, and then seeing the relief and trust as safety was restored, left an indelible mark on Alex. This was a soldier who had been trained for combat, yet his greatest battle was one fought in the name of love and protection rather than war. Alex's story also serves as a reminder of the broader responsibility we all share. Society often overlooks the hidden struggles of the most vulnerable, but courage, whether from a parent, a team, or a community, can illuminate even the darkest corners. It takes persistence, strategy, and unwavering moral resolve to confront injustice. And Alex's journey shows that change is possible when one refuses to accept complacency. Through the trials and dangers, Alex and his team showed what true teamwork and dedication can achieve. Marcus, Ramirez, and the intelligence operatives exemplified the strength of collaboration under extreme pressure. Each member's skill, loyalty, and courage contributed to the mission's success, reinforcing the lesson that even the most dangerous challenges can be overcome when people work together toward a just cause. Ultimately, the story of Captain Alex Romanov is a story of hope, resilience, and the unbreakable bond between a parent and child. It's about how ordinary people can take extraordinary risks to protect the vulnerable and fight for what is right. The mission may have ended successfully, but its impact extends far beyond one night, one shelter, or one family. It inspires all who hear it to act with courage, empathy, and integrity in the face of adversity. If this story moved you, like this video, leave a comment and subscribe to our channel to stay updated on gripping real-life stories of courage and resilience. Hit the notification bell to ensure you never miss an episode that inspires action and spreads awareness. Share this video with friends and family to help amplify the message of hope, justice, and the extraordinary lengths people will go to protect those they love. Every view and share helps bring these stories to the attention of the world and reminds us all of the power of determination and compassion.